Bring my darling. Bro, is she? Oh.
So wait, Philemon had a slave, right?
Yep.
So what's the book of Philemon about? Is it just a letter?
So the book of Philemon is just a letter that the Apostle Paul writes to Philemon to tell him to receive his slave back, but not as a slave, but as a brother. So the slave ran away from his master. His master is Philemon, and when he ran away, something must have happened, and he ended up in jail, in the same prison as Paul. And Paul shares the gospel with him, and so they probably got hard time to talk. And when they talked, they found out that Philemon was his master, and Paul knew Philemon because Philemon was also in the faith. And what Paul did was Paul now wrote a letter to Philemon and gave this slave to take it back to him himself. So now the slave now is holding his letter of freedom and taking it back to his master, and that's how we get the book of Philemon. And I think that's one of the books that stamps the gospel, God's idea, and what does God think about slavery. Because when people talk about the Old Testament allows this, although it's the slavery in the Old Testament, it's a total different context, because it was not really racial slavery. It was more of like sometimes when people cannot pay their debts, they will sell themselves as a slave to pay off their debts, things like that. Bring my darling. Bro, is she? Oh, come here. Oh, that smells good. What'd you make?